All right, let's talk about a unflattering statistic, guys. Jacksonville ranked third in the U.S. for financial distress. Oh man, what does that mean? So, an article from Wallet Hub ranks cities in the U.S. based on the level of financial distress experienced by their residents. Financial distress is defined as individuals with credit accounts in forbearance or deferred payments due to financial hardship. The study analyzed 100 large cities across 9 key metrics, including credit scores, bankruptcy filings, and a number of accounts in distress. So the top 3 was Houston, Atlanta, and then Jax came in third. So cities with the most financial distress. So this is based on average credit score, number of people with accounts in distress, bankruptcy filings from 2023 to 2024, and debt and loan forbearance. What do you guys think of this article?
Man, can I get? I'm gonna get a little personal, but I think a lot of stuff is, man, a lot of stuff can be dealt with within the school system. I think teaching financial literacy at a younger age as people grow older, I think it's huge, just because of just the amount of finances people will touch, even at 16 years old, getting their first job, 15, even younger, depending on wherever you're from. And I think not having people who are financial literate, to me, I think what it does is it causes this type of outcome. Even for me personally, I'm 32 years old now, and I am actively trying to change the way I view money from when I was younger. Because when you don't have money, oftentimes you don't know what to do when you get money, and then you make mistakes when you do get money, and then it's all those types of things. So now it's it's cool because now I can look back and say, man, I can tell other people, okay, don't make that mistake, lean into wisdom here. But I think obviously this is horrible, and it's man, we're third. But also I see, man, opportunity for, man, those who are coaches, those who are people who want to speak into these issues, can be able to then provide a service for our young generation, the next generation, to be able to maybe curve this. So maybe we're not third, maybe we're 100th, whatever it is. But so anyway.
Now, I'm going to totally age myself here. I remember going to school, so I can totally, I remember going to school, taking those classes where they taught you how to write a check.
No way.
And how
I never, no way. Come on, man.
Are you calling me old?
No, I'm not calling you old.
That's what I just heard. I just heard y'all calling me old there. No. But no, we had classes where they taught us how to balance the checkbook, how to write a check, how to deal with finances. And they just don't do that anymore. And I can kind of relate to what you're saying, because younger generations really, I don't know what the emphasis is. Where do they learn that stuff? Yeah. And I also know, in the 90s, things really, really shifted to where everything was bigger and better, and you had to have the big parties and all this stuff that just didn't happen when I was younger. So unfortunately, I hate that we're at 67% here in Jacksonville. That's huge. I mean, that's really not a good thing.
Yeah. I mean, you think of societal pressures, you think of all the keeping up with the Joneses. All that stuff actually plays into what you do with your finances, because if you want to look a certain way, if you want people to perceive you a certain way, that comes in your image. It comes with the house you have, the car you drive, and a lot of that stuff. And so it's one of those things where it's such a foundational thing that I don't understand why isn't talked about more, because it's so foundational to where you're going as a human being.
Yeah. Well, here's my question. Let's look at the cities.
Yeah.
They're all southern cities.
100%.
Houston, Atlanta, Jacksonville.
Yep.
What was going on in these cities? So we were booming, even during COVID. Real estate was booming. It was crushed. I know it was crushing pretty much all over the country, but we had this great local economy. So are we now in financial distress because people just didn't know what to do with this perceived equity that you're getting in your home, and people are just thinking everything's great, we got all this money? What's the root cause for us to be number 3? You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah. There's a lot of factors that play into that. I mean, one, when you look from 2022 to 2023, Jacksonville was 6th on the population growth in the nation, right? So we were still receiving a lot of COVID refugees, okay, from different places. Some things that happened with that is a lot of those places where those individuals were working have now said, you got to come back to the office or you don't have a job, right? So that's one factor, and that's affected a lot of people. You know, the other is the lack of financial literacy that you hit on, and you know, the lenders and the credit card companies and those they hit you. You know, Dave Ramsey talks about it a lot. You know, the 2% cash back or the 1% cash back, whatever it is. It sounds great, but it's actually stupid.
Yeah, for sure.
It's way too easy.
It's way too easy. It's like, oh, well, I'll go buy this thing that I can't afford because I'm going to get cash back. Well, that, you know, come on. Like, you're going to get 1% on a $100 purchase, right? So now individuals are using credit to finance things that they should be paying with cash. You know, if you go to McDonald's and you're financing that cheeseburger because you're paying with a credit card, that is a bad deal. You know, you're buying gasoline on a credit card and you're not paying it off at the end of the week. You're making a bad deal for yourself. And just a couple of those bad decisions, they start to pile up. And I've talked to a couple of interested buyers on the real estate market, like, hey, I want to buy a house. Yeah, that's great. You got to get rid of that $1,000 car because that's 30% of your income in that one deal, right? You can buy a home and you could be financially free, but you might need to go get a $5,000 beater for a little while, you know? And again, and what's the status you're trying to look at, right? Are you trying to make your bank account happy, or you want people to look at you to make you think that you're something that you're not?
For sure.
You know?
You know, man, there's a book, man, I'm going to butcher the title. No, it's The Psychology of Money. Psychology of Money. And it talks about how those who actually are rich never really look rich, and usually those who look rich, they aren't rich. That they owe everybody money. And when we talk about actual assets that they own, they own very little of it because they just owe so much out. And you know, one of those things that I think it hits, you know, I think our human psychology is, man, like that desire to be seen, known, and loved, and that usually comes with, you know, appearance. Like, don't get me wrong, this gala on Friday, look, I'm stepping out. You know what I'm saying? You know, I'm getting a haircut. It's gonna be, you know what I'm saying? But like all that stuff, but think about how much of that plays into every decision we make, you know, as people. You know what I mean? Because we all want to be, you know, like, known and loved. You know. But
Yeah, that reminds me. I think Cody Sanchez posted this meme, the levels of wealth, and relating it to cars. So no car, to used beater car, Camry, then Mercedes, Lamborghini, then no car. So once you become ultra wealthy, then you don't need a car anymore because you know it's not that important to you. You probably just got people driving you around. The one thing I want to add too, just from my kind of a personal story, like the financial literacy thing. When I was a kid, like, you know, and I'm born in the '70s, so I'm not a young chicken, right? Is that the word? Young
spring chicken.
Spring chicken. There you go. We'll get into price of eggs here in a little bit, but just because of the situation with my family and my mom and her background, as a kid, every week I sit down with my mom at the kitchen table and I'm writing out the checks for her.
Oh, wow.
Paying all the bills.
Wow.
Like, our bills were like really small because we lived in the projects. Yeah. But I remember just like doing that. That's probably kind of what got me so interested in numbers. Yeah. You know, to what I ended up doing in my career in corporate. But you know, just the lack of financial planning. And again, not that I'm great with my own kids, but we talk about money in different ways. You know, my wife and I are very different on how we go about money. You know, I'm more of a just kind of free with it, big risk taker. I'm willing to just, like, you know, just cut the check and go with it just because that's who I am. And then my wife, you know, she's kind of opposite, very risk adverse, not willing or wanting so much to just freely spend. But as my daughter started, my oldest especially, she started driving, she got her driver's license. You know, we entrusted her to give her, you know, a credit card so she could pay for gas and stuff like that. And so it's been about a year or however long it's been. So she hasn't abused it. She understands her limits and things like that. But, you know, these kids for sure, they're hardly getting any financial education, you know, whatsoever.
But it's crazy because though you as a kid that you were able to, because of circumstances and situations, you were able to then have a healthy psychology of money, even though it wasn't a lot, but you knew what to do. Yeah. And now, I mean, like, you know what I'm saying, CEO, business owner, you know, I mean, we're doubling down on things that we're doing, you know, we're 10Xing a lot of things. But that became from years of, you know, this private, you know, stewardship, you know what I mean? And so it's just powerful. It's just cool. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, there's such a high percentage of American households that are paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah.
Then you have to begin to ask the question, if you are in a situation where you are being smothered in debt, haven't been fiscally responsible, what are you going to teach your kids? Or so it's sometimes it's coming from a place of you want to do as I say, not as I do. But there's also a little bit of, like, we have the conversations with the kids. Like, this is what the house costs. This is what the light bill costs. This is this is the money coming in. My 18-year-old, she was approaching 18. She's about ready to get into college. It's like, all right, cool. You got a little job. You got a little money. This is what you need to do with it. Go and boom. And she did exactly what I had told her to do. So then this is the trick of the banks, right? When you teach a kid how to be responsible with their money, the bank tries to create an environment where they can be irresponsible, right? Yeah. So the bank calls her one afternoon and says, hey, your secured credit card, you've done the right things. So now we want to unsecure it with a much higher limit. So she calls, and of course she's happy. And I said, yeah, but you're going to still treat it just exactly the same way. And you're going to continue to do that. And and she's done well with her funds. And I said, how much money you got in your bank right now? And she told me, and I said, okay, that's good. I said, you want to keep it that way, and continue to grow it and continue to multiply it. You don't want to owe people for things that you can pay cash. She likes going to concerts and shows and stuff, and buy it. Don't finance it. Just go, have fun. Let's be smart.
Yeah. Good advice from the dad over there. You got what, like 7 kids?
Yeah,
5 kids?
There's 5 altogether, sir.
All right. So you got to put the hard hat on.
Why do I have to wear the
because we're
bright
signing
orange hat?
off. If you are going to be at the downtown Jack's Gala this Friday, February 28th, please reach out to us. We got about 5 of us. No, we have exactly 5 of us going to represent there. We're going to have a great time. Well, you're not going, but
I will not be there.
You still got to wear a hat on Friday.
I'm wearing the hat.
You wear the hard hat. Well, this is DeVore Live. This is Scott Free with the crew. Make sure you like, subscribe, promote this channel. Until next time, be blessed and have a good one.
Peace.
Take care.